Good morning, Chairman Griffith, Ranking Member Castor, Chair McMorris-Rogers, and Ranking Member Pallone. Also distinguished members of the subcommittee. I am Christy Grimm. I am the Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Our mission at HHS-OIG is to prevent, detect, and combat fraud, waste, and abuse. Our work helps ensure that HHS programs better serve the American people and that taxpayer dollars are not misspent. Our portfolio is vast and it is varied. Last year, my office was responsible for oversight of over 100 programs and more than $2.4 trillion in department expenditures. We have only 2 cents for every $100 that the department spends. We conduct efficient, consequential, high-impact oversight work with our limited resources, but much more needs to be done to thwart fraud, identify misspent funds, and protect people from harm. To be candid, without more resources, we will be unable to keep pace with the department threats. We risk falling behind and allowing HHS dollars to be diverted to fraud. I'll spend the next few moments briefly addressing the 3 specific areas the subcommittee requested. First, the Unaccompanied Children Program. Ensuring that children are safe is a top priority for me and my office. Unfortunately, our oversight work over the past 2 decades has raised a variety of concerns about the safety and welfare of unaccompanied children in HHS's care. Unaccompanied children enter the U.S. with no parent or guardian to care for them. HHS is completely responsible for their well-being until being released to an adult sponsor in the U.S. A recent report focusing on case management services at the Fort Bliss Emergency Intake Site demonstrates the child safety risks our work has uncovered. At this site, we found many caseworkers lacked experience and did not receive adequate training. We identified that the case management system was lacking in basic capabilities, including helping to screen the adults the children were to be placed with. We found the streamlined process to expedite children's release from the facility may have increased risk of release to unsafe adult sponsors. Finally, we heard from staff that they were reticent to report problems for fear of retaliation. We're now conducting a more comprehensive review of the process used to screen potential adult sponsors. Next, I'll turn to grants management at NIH. We have found consistent weaknesses in NIH's oversight of grant recipients. These include fraud, unallowable costs, and inadequate internal controls and monitoring of grants. For instance, a recent audit found that NIH and its grant recipient, EcoHealth Alliance, did not effectively monitor awards and subawards. The report also found that NIH did not exercise rigorous oversight over potentially high-risk research. While issues related to the type of research in science may be complex, our findings involve common failures of routine grant oversight, like failing to follow up on progress reports. Last, I'll touch on oversight of CMS. The intricacy and breadth of the Medicare and Medicaid programs make oversight complex, challenging, and resource-intensive for CMS. We use a data-driven risk assessment approach to target risks, such as inflated costs, improper or wasteful payments, and poor quality of care. We also deploy sophisticated data analytics and technology to pinpoint and pursue costly and harmful fraud schemes. Yet, despite extensive reviews and enforcement, our limited resources do not allow us to provide comprehensive oversight of Medicare and Medicaid, programs that spend $1.6 trillion annually. Said simply, we lack a sufficient number of law enforcement agents, auditors, evaluators, and information technology specialists to detect and respond to ever-emerging fraud trends. OIG is turning down between 300 and 400 viable criminal and civil healthcare fraud cases annually. These uninvestigated cases represent unchecked fraud and the potential for patients to be put in harm's way. Notwithstanding rigorous efforts by my office, by HHS, and Congress, serious fraud, waste, and abuse continue to grow and threaten HHS programs. If enacted, the President's FY 2024 requested resources for OIG would go a long way toward addressing shortfalls, particularly with respect to combating fraud. I thank you for the invitation to appear before you today. I thank you for underscoring the importance of resources for program integrity. I thank you for your commitment to improving HHS programs and protecting the people they serve, and I'm happy to take your questions.